When the TV crews leave, the next chapter begins. And the curious case of the Castle Rock chemicals, it's an expensive cleanup.
Life safety is our primary concern.
Opponents of a ballot measure who won't show up to debate it, but are spending enough money that it's an election day toss-up. Tell me again why we're paying for President Obama as he flies around the country campaigning for Hillary Clinton. Tonight, we get schooled on the Electoral College and the city where streets are paved in toilet paper. No shit. That's next. Headline news one night doesn't get as much attention the next. Take the situation in Castle Rock, where 2 teenagers were arrested. Chemicals that could have been used to build a bomb were found in one of their homes. The work to make that neighborhood safe again, that's just starting. Victoria Sanchez has that.
Police and firefighters are gone, the explosives destroyed, and the neighbors allowed back home. But this is far from the end of the story.
We've got to step in and say, look, this needs to be taken care of.
Firefighters bagged hazardous waste and red tagged the house. Since it's a misdemeanor to go in, firefighters gave the residents one shot to tell them what they wanted before the house was padlocked.
So we actually developed a list of items that they needed, that they told us where they were, and we went and got these items for them in protective equipment.
Now the owners have 7 days to start getting the house decontaminated. When it comes to cleanup, hiring the company and paying for the work is the responsibility of the homeowner. And until that's done and approved by the fire department, the family won't be able to move back.
So you could be talking $10,000.
Since firefighters and cleanup crews don't know what the chemicals are, everything needs to be tested, logged, cleaned up, and thrown away at a hazardous waste landfill.
Something like that could take anywhere from a week to 4 weeks.
Because even though it's uncomfortable, it's far better to be protected from these materials than it is to not be.
Once the home is given the all clear, the owners will get back the keys.
We want to make sure that we're protecting our environment, we're protecting their lives, we're protecting our lives, our community's lives, to make sure that this is handled so that life can go on as it was before.
I'm Victoria Sanchez for Next.
Firefighters think they contained the threat from the chemicals to that one house because the chemicals were all in containers, and now that scene is being processed. All right, quick check. Is the election over yet? Negative. Just like the ads. 5 days to go. The big new tobacco tax on our ballot is pretty much a coin flip, basically 50-50 in the only poll that we've seen on it. The No campaign is putting its money where it wouldn't put its mouth. They wouldn't show up here to debate Amendment 72, but they're spending loads of money to get you to vote no, without really saying who they are. Politics guy Brandon Ritterman smoked them out.
For starters, I'm going to show you the Yes campaign. They've raised $2.3 million to try to pass new tobacco taxes, which would triple the tax on a pack of cigarettes. That's a pretty big campaign for a Colorado ballot question, but the No campaign blows it out of the water. They've gotten $17.5 million, virtually all of it from one tobacco company, Altria, which used to be called Philip Morris. Now, to understand how truly huge this is for a ballot question, we're going to compare it to the granddaddy, the presidential race. Take the cost of all the ad spending on all Colorado TV stations this year from Trump, Clinton, and all the super PACs, and you get $14.5 million. That's right. One side of one ballot question is spending the same kind of money that gets spent on a presidential race in a swing state. Now, that may boggle the mind, but they're trying to avoid $316 million a year on tobacco taxes. So maybe it's an easy spend if you're the biggest tobacco company in the country. For Next, I'm Brandon Ritterman.
He's like little and the graphics are big. Hey, you should vote. All the cool kids are doing it. More than 1.4 million Coloradans have submitted ballots as of this morning. Means about 43% of the state's 3.3 million active registered voters have been heard from. 36% of those who have turned in ballots so far are Democrats, 35% Republicans, 27% unaffiliated. Now, the GOP typically holds the edge at this point. Democrats are having an unusually strong year, but Republicans are closing the gap. We should say again, we don't know how these people voted, just that they voted, which party they call home. All right, let's strip away the politics for a moment and just appreciate our right to vote. In your words, not ours.
Decided to take the dog down for a walk and make sure the ballot got in person.
Oh, dropping off my ballot.
I'm out here voting, getting my vote out, making a difference.
I'm voting. It's my civic duty.
you know, from a moral standpoint, I do feel like I have to vote and that it's really important.
Don't have to worry about the lines, don't have to worry about the hustle and bustle of election day.
Denver makes it really easy. You can mail it in, you can walk it in all these polling centers. I mean, you can even just drive up and drop your ballot off.
I think it's time to get out there and get it done. It took me about 5 minutes to do it today.
Quick and painless.
If you don't voice your opinion, you don't submit a ballot, then you're really not taking part in that process.
If people don't get out, then your elected officials don't know how you feel and what matters to you.
That if you don't have a voice, you really don't have anything to say.
If you don't vote, it's really hard for you to maintain a platform.
It's important to have an opinion, you know, and let your opinion be heard.
I know my vote's in there and will be counted.
The least you can do is fill in some ovals and drop off a ballot.
Even if it's just one tiny little mark on one piece of paper, it's important to have your voice heard.
Do the ovals, man, do the ovals. Here's a fun way to heal the political divisions between family and friends who don't agree on politics. Sit down together and cast your votes side by side for the candidates we can all agree on. Denver Broncos who are up for the Pro Bowl. It'll be therapeutic, we promise. There's a link to the Pro Bowl voting on the next Facebook page. President Obama is spending time this week flying around the country campaigning for Hillary Clinton. And we get asked this question each election year. Why should taxpayers pay for that? Republicans are the ones asking this year. Democrats were the ones asking when President Bush did the exact same thing. Here's how it works. The FEC says that the president and the first lady and the vice president are allowed to participate in campaigning. However, the campaign or their political party is supposed to pay for all of the political parts of the trip. I bet you figured it out by now. You tend to see presidents squeeze in some official business during a bunch of these campaign trips so that then the costs are split. Divvying things up is fun, right, Steve?
Right, Kyle. You like to hear solutions on this show, not just problems. So we thought we'd give you an update to our lead story the other night, the new day work program for the homeless. The first day of that program was Tuesday when crews worked to clean up Civic Center Park. 14 people showed up that day. Then, yesterday,
they were back at Civic Center Park, planting trees in areas where trees had previously blown down. City said it was having trouble finding a contractor to do the work, so this worked out in the end. The original 14 folks showed up again yesterday, along with 3 other people. City told us more people wanted to participate, but they didn't have enough managers to handle all those workers. So right now, they're doing the day work 2 days a week. If they keep getting this kind of interest, they may bump it up to 3 days a week. And we may give Steve a microphone the next time he appears on this program. Appreciate what the Denver Rescue Mission is doing this year more than ever. They're doing their annual turkey collection drive to feed the hungry on Thanksgiving. And this year, they did not send out a press release claiming some turkey shortage, an emergency. Oh, geez. Year after year, it got old. It was always followed by some business that would sweep in with a truck full of turkeys, and then there'd be a press release. Great publicity for those folks. But here's to the Denver Rescue Mission for the work that they do and how they are doing it this year, asking our community to come together and help them reach their goal of 15,000 frozen turkeys.
It's not exactly the most riveting of concepts. It's not the action movie of social studies.
But it will determine who becomes president. So let's be big boys and girls and learn something today. 5 points. Loses a legend. Big Al shaped that neighborhood and the lives in it. And this is awkward, but how do you tell a whole city it has toilet paper stuck to its street? Tonight, we're going to earn an electoral college degree. We're going to go in search of answers to your questions about how we pick a president. Our professor today is a high school teacher. Matthew McHenry teaches social studies at Bruce Randolph in Denver. That would be Mr. McHenry to us.
How are we doing, sophomores? My name is Matthew McHenry. I'm a secondary social studies teacher at Bruce Randolph High School. Yeah, the professor of radness. Yeah, we have fun when we can, I guess. So why'd you pick direct democracy? I teach U.S. history for the 11th grade, the civics class for 10th graders, and I do the college seminar class. Sure, electing the president. So I think a lot of people, when they even hear the terms electoral college, and you know, that you get that glazed over look when it's just, I don't get it, and they move on. Electoral college is a point game based on population. There are 538 electoral votes currently. Each state is worth a certain amount of points, is probably the simplest way to put it. And the points are based on how many senators and representatives each state has. So California, for example, has the highest population and therefore is worth the most points. If you win the popular vote in each state, you can win the point game and become president. I think a lot of people have the misconception that it's just a direct vote, and if you are the most popular choice, you can be the president of the United States. And it isn't that simple. The thinking behind that was that, first off, our founding fathers were terrified, actually, of a direct election. They thought that there'd be some sort of like subversive group that would be able to take control of the masses and trick them into into a popular vote would be easier. And so they established the Electoral College to be a check on the masses.
We're the masses, by the way. May I make a recommendation? You know, something that isn't ours but is worth a look, and this time it's some solid advice. Wall Street Journal posted a blog, "Let's make it a lot harder to use reply all." Research scientist Jennifer Deal offers tips for those who reply all when they shouldn't, which basically is anytime. The article shows you how to change up your Gmail or your toolbar to make the reply all button harder to find and accidentally hit. Now here's the deal. This will not fix your coworker who uses reply all to remind your boss that he or she still exists, but it might just help the rest of us. Our next question comes from viewer David Davenport. He said, "I noticed some strange toilet paper-like substance on the street in Littleton. It appears to be on top of the tar used to seal the streets. Can you ask what it is?" We're on it, David. Must admit, some on our team poo-pooed the idea. We nearly canned it. Originally, we were not flush with information until the city of Littleton got in touch to say, yes, it is in fact toilet paper being used to extend the life of the road. Crews are putting out biodegradable toilet paper over freshly sealed cracks in the road. The TP is to keep the tar off of your shoes, your bikes, your cars, your tires. The city says toilet paper is a cost-effective way to cover the tar while it dries, and it eventually will dissolve in the rain and with the wear of traffic. And it is also the only way to TP an entire city and not have the cops look for you. Use a throwback, a link to Denver's past.
He wanted people of color to create businesses and property and prosper.
Remembering Big Al. And the brewery in Colorado offering a choice this election season between a blonde with character that's tough to pin down and an orange-colored ale that grabs you by the palate. Next. Cubs fans have long gathered in every corner of this country in de facto support groups, shoulder to cry on. Well, now those are victory parties. And we found one up in Estes Park today. Some Cubs fans who connected on Facebook and got together to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Tony Belat was kind enough to snap a photo. We hear that most of these people lived in the Midwest at some point or another. They now call Colorado home, and they call their team world champs.
Some story ideas will come in the mail. Every day we get hundreds of letters, news releases, and magazines. And there's lots of paperwork in a newsroom. A rundown is typed, listing every story in the newscast. It'll be changed dozens of times as the news of the day changes. Planning a newscast is often frustrating.
From KUSA in Denver, this is 9 News, #1 in Colorado.
Good afternoon. But once it's on the air, once you get to see our work, it makes it all worthwhile.
The producer you saw there in the video over the typewriter, that is Patty Dennis, who hired me, regrets it daily. She's now vice president of our parent company, Tegna Media. She hired Danielle Grant, too, says it was the best thing she ever did.
Well, I certainly hope she's saying that. Hey, you know, we need some storms around here, that's for sure. The Colorado Drought Monitor just came out today, and you can see a large portion of the I-25 corridor, southeastern plains, now in a moderate drought. This does not bode well. We need some moisture around here, and you can see within the past 3 months, we have had nearly none around here. All right, a little bit. You see our average right there at about 3.5 inches or so. What we got in August, September, and October, about 3/4 of an inch. So storms, are they on the horizon? I do have one. However, it's pushing in to parts of southwestern Colorado. It will certainly help them out, bringing them a little bit of rain, some snowfall. Areas above about 10,000 feet could pick up 3 to 6 inches out there through Saturday. Tonight here in town, we're down to about 39, clear skies. Tomorrow, once again, a carbon copy of today. We're back to the upper 60s. We're back with that sunshine early on in the morning. We'll be watching for a couple of clouds in the late afternoon. By Saturday, that storm system makes its way a little bit closer into our neck of the woods, but I still think the showers stay out to the west in the foothills. If anything, we'll have a few more clouds on Saturday, but temperatures staying into the 60s for the start of next week. Kyle?
Thanks, Danielle. In the 5 Points neighborhood, he was simply Big Al. Elbert Richardson was a longtime leader in Denver's African-American community, business owner, faithful church deacon. Today, he was laid to rest after one final trip around the neighborhood.
Mr. Elbert Big Al Richardson was an icon in the 5 Points neighborhood, and he will be missed. As a leader of the 5 Points Business Association, Big Al witnessed the many cycles of change in the neighborhood.
And I grew up around him. You know, whatever people's needed, he gave it to them. You know, he was nice to everybody.
He knew the people there, and he knew the needs of the people in 5 Points.
Juneteenth became his legacy.
I love Jesus. Big Al was a man of staff, grace, and determination.
I shall go wherever he leads me. Deacon Al was a praiser. Deacon Al was just a good person all the way around, and we're going to miss him tremendously. Our dad came to Denver in 1946 after serving this country. He wanted people of color to create businesses and property and prosper.
And when the spirit would get high in the church and he'd get happy, he'd get to church.
He's gone home.
He was our rock, and the Lord was his. We love him dearly. You can weep that he is gone, or you can smile because he lived.
Good. Hallelujah.
Big Al served his community and he served our country in the Air Force. He was buried at Fort Logan Cemetery. We are back with a sign that will try to convince us that not everything is as it seems. And a brewery offers us a real choice this election season. It is a sign, actually it's 2 signs, spotted by viewers who emailed them to us within like minutes the other day. Not a door. Hey, you can't fool us. No, that totally is a door. It's on the side of the old sports castle off Broadway in Denver. Craig Owens sent us that one. Pretty sure that what they mean to say is not an entrance, but you're not fooling us, man. That is absolutely a door. Second photo is from Durango. Dave Williams shot that to us and said, well, it sure looks like a door. And in fact, Dave, it does indeed look like a door down there in Durango. But this is apparently a sign that they sell around town. All right. You can always send them to us next at 9 News, #HeyNext. If you drink on election night, we won't judge. Fate Brewing in Boulder is offering the chance to make one final election selection. They've brewed 2 special beers. See if they sound familiar to you. One is a red beer, though they concede it's actually much more orange in color. Grabs you by the palate, Fate says. And then there's the blue beer, described as an approachable American blonde ale that might just cause you to conceal details of what you've been doing. Well played, Fate. Well played. Your feedback now. Susan Galloway writes, love the show, great unbiased approach. The first time for every email right there. Emily tweets, hi, Kyle, big fan of the new show. Must say the No Shave November look is not good for you or your chin. Hey, Emily, just give it like 3 weeks. It's going to look great by the end of the month, I promise. Samara writes, she lives in the Littleton area. She's seen this toilet paper nonsense is getting all over the grass and blowing around. Can't believe this is a thing. But Stephen Floyd likes it. And he writes, Littleton's giving a whole new meaning to asphalt. Stephen, baby, you want to write for next? Come in, please do it. We'll see you next time.